All right, hello again. This video is instructions for species reports and presentations for BSC1051C, Environmental Biology of Southwest Florida Environments. So again, if you're looking at the Canvas page, this should be video number 2 for instructions for the course. So you probably should have watched the Welcome to Environmental Biology video, and so then this one we're going to cover how to do your species reports and your virtual presentations. So again, on the Canvas homepage, I do have those instructions that says, what do I need to do each week? Number 1, it says claim your species on the virtual species presentation discussion board. What does that mean? So if we scroll down on Canvas, if you go down all the way to the bottom of our Canvas page where it says course summary, and we've got the list of all the assignments due for the entire semester. The very first field trip, if we go to those things, it says virtual species presentation, temperate hardwood hammocks, and pine flatwoods. So if we open that up, we will have a discussion board, and there are some instructions there. So it says virtual species presentation, temperate hardwood hammocks, and pine flatwoods. What you first need to do is select your species from the Excel spreadsheet. So there is a link to the Excel spreadsheet, and so if you click on the Excel spreadsheet, it'll either open up or you could download it. We're going to use the same one all semester, so if you want to download it, save it, that's fine. With the Excel spreadsheet, make sure you're clicking on the correct tab, because this is the same one for all the classes. And so we are doing pine flatwoods and hardwood hammocks. And so there's actually 2 options. So there's 2 pages, so you could pick any species that you want off of the pine flatwoods list or the hardwood hammocks list. So just pick one of those species that looks interesting to you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit reply on the discussion board, and you're going to type your species, right? That's the one that you've done. So you want to claim that species. The thing is that I don't want to have any repeats, and so claim your species, but when you claim your species, make sure nobody else claimed it first. If somebody else has already claimed it, pick something different. The other thing is these lists are basically just guides. I know there's a lot of species that can be found there that are also probably not on my list. So if you know that something can be found in one of these ecosystems and you're really interested in it and you want to do it, totally fine. Just claim it and nobody else can do it. So what happens if you find out that you did a species that somebody already claimed and you wrote the report and you did the presentation and all that? It's totally fine. If I have a duplicate or 2, it's not a big deal. So don't feel like you have to redo everything. So anyways, we've claimed our species. So if we look at step 2, right, it says complete your species report. And so to complete our species report, again, if we're on the course summary, where it says species report, temperate hardwood hammocks, and pine flatwoods. So open that assignment up. And again, there are instructions. And it says species report template. So it's a document. You could download this document. So click on the document, download it, save a good copy of it, because you're going to use this again for each field trip. And I've got all my instructions in red, so you're going to fill it out, delete my instructions in red. And so you're going to write your common name, your scientific name. Make sure you use the correct format for scientific names. Students lose points all the time. When you're using a scientific name, the first word is capitalized, the second word is lowercase, and the whole thing is written in italics. Your introduction to the species, this is basically, I always tell students, if you had like 1 paragraph to tell us everything about your species, that's your introduction, right? And it's okay to repeat stuff in your introduction in more detail later on. It's totally fine. Physical description. What does your species look like? Are males and females, do they look different? Do they change over life? So things like that. Geographic range, where your species lives. Also include a map. And most of these things are all just gonna be like Florida species, but don't tell me it's found in Florida, right? Because if we said the American alligator, they are found in Florida, but are they found everywhere in Florida? No, right? They're found specifically in different areas of Florida. So be specific. Also include a map, right? So make sure you guys have a map of where they can be found. And I'll talk about maps in a little bit. Ecological role. This is what your species does in the environment, right? So how does it interact with the environment? How does it interact with other species? What's its job? And if you're having trouble finding like specifically like what is the ecological role, imagine if the species was removed from the ecosystem. What gap would be left there, right? What other species might suffer because of it? Where does it fit in on the food chain? What does your species eat? What eats it? How does it get its energy? Pretty simple stuff for most species, but then if you think, oh, I have a plant and plants don't eat anything. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? Many plants need specific nutrients. They need sunlight, they have water needs, right? So if you have a plant species, right, what are its specific needs? Reproductive strategy, how does it reproduce? Scientific classification, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Other interesting life history facts. So this is basically a fun fact about your species. Do they show up in popular culture? Whatever, right? Just a fun fact about your species. Include at least one picture, and then 3 credible references in APA format. So what I always recommend to my students is Wikipedia is actually a great place to start on these. So if you go to Wikipedia, they're going to have your scientific classification for almost every species. Wikipedia is great for scientific classifications, and they usually have a map as well. And so Wikipedia is a great place to start, but you can't cite Wikipedia. If you get your scientific classification and your map from Wikipedia and you don't cite that, that's totally fine with me. But Wikipedia has a reference page for every article. And so if you scroll down to the bottom of that reference page, you can see where those references from Wikipedia came from. And those are going to be great sources for you guys to write these species reports from. So, feel free to read through Wikipedia, look at it, get your scientific classification there, get your map from Wikipedia, but then look at the references, right? Where did Wikipedia get their information from? And those are going to be great places for you to get information for your species reports. All right, so we've claimed our species. We wrote the species report. So now, number 3 on what do I need to do each week, return to the virtual species presentation discussion board and post a 1 to 2 minute oral presentation of your species. So go back to that original post where you claimed your species. Maybe you said, I'm going to do the Florida scrub jay. And so you just wrote, I'm claiming the Florida scrub jay. Now we're going to go back. We've written a report, and we're going to make a 1 to 2 minute oral presentation of our species. And so, again, with this, what I'm looking for is like a brief introduction. Tell us what it looks like, where it lives, what's its ecological role, what's its food web, how does it reproduce, throw in a fun fact, and then maybe something else about your species. If you got a cool picture of it, if you have evidence of it, or if you actually go out to the field trip locations and you want to film it there and you find a picture of it or you see it, throw that stuff in there as well. But, again, your oral presentation, you could just do it totally from your living room. You don't have to go anywhere special and do it. I don't want you to read from your actual report. So, take some time and just kind of, put some notes down so that, you can get it through in, 1 to 2 minutes. And I know they're not going to be perfect. And don't stress about stumbling over your words or anything like that. And then once you've done that, right, upload your video to YouTube, post a link, or just post it directly into Canvas. And again, if you want to use, whatever kind of social media to, throw on some crazy effects or make them fun, that's totally fine with me, as long as you can easily view them on the discussion board. And then once you've done that, I would like you to watch at least 4 of your classmates' videos and take some notes on them, and those are going to go in your field trip report. So we'll talk about that in my next video for the virtual field trip. But you're gonna watch at least 4 of them to take some notes, and give your classmates when you watch the video a couple of sentences feedback. Good job, what did you find interesting, etc., etc. And also when you're making these videos, say hi to your classmates, tell us what's new and what's exciting in your life and things like that. So this has been our introductory video for how to do species reports and species presentation. So, right, we covered step 1, you go to the discussion board, you claim your species. Step 2, you write your report. Step 3, you go back to where you claimed your species, and then you're going to write your 1 to 2 minute oral presentation. And again, hopefully you guys are watching this week 1. If you guys are struggling, or if you're confused by anything I said, send me an email. Maybe we could talk through it on the phone, whatever works for you. I want you guys to be clear on all the instructions for week 1, and then that'll help you with being ready to go for week 2. So thanks and good luck.